Day 2. Take this vocabulary test. First, we shall take your word portrait. When the picture is finished, it will show you how you look to others as a conversationalist and how you may appear when you write a simple social note or a business letter. The lines of your likeness that are to be drawn here will indicate the extent of your vocabulary, the facility with which you can recall and use words, and the knowledge that you have of their precise meanings. There will also be 2 brief spelling and pronunciation tests so that we can get a complete picture. You will find the test in this chapter simple and entertaining. They will scarcely take you 15 minutes to do them. When you are through and have marked yourself, you will know what's wrong, if anything, with your vocabulary and your use of words. You will, in short, have painted your own word portrait. Then, in the chapters that follow, we will show you just how to strengthen any weak points that may have appeared. So, how do words treat you, anyhow? Are you comfortable with them? Do they come easily to you? When you write and speak, do your words paint the sort of picture of you that will do you the most good in this highly competitive world? Does your language make you happy? Does it always hold a true mirror up to your mind, your emotions, your personality, so that they may be properly reflected? Or does it sometimes betray you and blur your thoughts? Do people occasionally misunderstand you? Or can you compel them to listen, react, and obey? Like everyone else on this earth of ours, you want certain definite things from life, no matter what those favors are or what particular way you have chosen to go about getting them. You know that your first and most effective means will be the words that you use. Except for the gift of words, no book, including this one, would ever be in your hands. You couldn't even read the title, nor, having opened the covers, could you understand the contents, and you would thus be denied all the knowledge of the ages. In like manner, the satisfaction and the success you hope to get out of life will depend very greatly on the skills with which you can communicate your needs, your desires, your opinions to the other humans who are around you. What you say to others is important. A girl may be ever so beautiful, but once she speaks, she registers her class, and no expensive dress can cover her bad grammar or faulty pronunciation. Her words have made her homely. The late Lillian Tashman, motion picture star of her day, had a favorite anecdote in this connection. She had been asked to go to a party by a distinguished member of the Hollywood colony. As her escort was slipping a luxurious fur wrap over the actress' shoulder, he murmured, "You look as lovely as a Botticelli angel." "What do you mean, Botticelli? What's that?" said the girl. "I saw," said Miss Tashman, a look of faint disgust flick into the man's eyes, and from that time on, I made up my mind to do a bit of studying. How sure are you that you know the fine shades of meanings? It is most important that you should, or your word portrait is going to be slightly out of your focus. And those splendid ideas you have are going to be distorted when you try to project them on the minds of others. You see, words have individualities of their own. They have form, color, personality. When you learn to know them, they will become your slaves and will work for you, whether you're young or old. whether or not you have been through college or high school or even grammar school. You will find these lessons growing easier for you, chapter by chapter, as you go along. Now we are ready for your portrait. Please follow the instructions carefully. Sit very still. When your picture is finished, we will show it to you and you will see how your words look to the outside world. Test 1. Elementary. How quick are you with words? Time yourself for 30 seconds. Directions. Take out your watch. Now write down in the blank space next to each of the words in the following list around another word that begins with S and has a meaning directly opposite to the given word. For example, the opposite of fast is slow, opposite of sweet is sour, opposite of buy is sell, and all of these words start with an S. Now time yourself. 30 seconds is enough. And do not forget, every word must begin with the letter S. In all the following tests, mark yourself wrong on such words as you fail to get in the time limit. Your time starts now. Now let's check your answers. Tall goes for short, north, south, happy, sad, different, same, dangerous, safe, big, small, dull, smart or sharp, noisy, silent or still, sit, stand, receive, send. In scoring yourself, allow 2 points for every correct word. Write your total at the right. 20 would be a perfect score. Any answers written in after the time in any test must be considered wrong. You have just been tested for fluency. The dictionary men call words of opposite meanings antonyms. But you don't have to remember that unless you want to. The most important thing is that you should have breezed through this list at high speed in less than 30 seconds with no hesitancy and no mistakes. If you had to think for more than an instant to recall the proper word, it is likely that you experienced some discomfort in expressing your thoughts in your daily life. You're probably seeing men not as bright as you getting ahead of you. You may often wonder, what has he got that I haven't got? Without the proper word arsenal, you will have to resign yourself to mediocrity. You're seriously handicapped, but do not worry too much about it. Most people are. This book is designed for you. It will give you the chance to go to work and overcome your obstacle. Now we have test 2, verbal speed, advanced. Time yourself for 90 seconds. Directions. The principle is the same as in the last test. That is, write a word beginning with S, which is opposite in the meaning to each of the following words. These answers of yours will be the antonyms. A minute and a half by your watch should be enough. selfish or stingy, meaningless, sensible, significant, believing, skeptical, complicated, simple, doubtful, sure, careful, slipshod, slovenly, sloppy, wakefulness, sleep, sleepiness, slumber, somnolence, rough, smooth, objective, subjective, laugh, sob. Count 2 points for each correct answer. Perfect score should be 20. Speed and accuracy are again of great importance. If you completed this in 90 seconds and got 8 out of 10 correct, you're far above the average. And if you less, you doubtless show an unusual skill and ease in translating your thoughts into the proper words. You're going to make a swift progress in the lessons that are ahead. If, on the other hand, you exceeded your time limit, or if you were wrong in 5 or more words, it is critically necessary that you should start in today to improve your fluency. We are dealing in this book with the richest language in the world, and with a little practice and patience, you can easily make its great power belong to you. Let us move on to the test 3. How are your synonyms? Time 4 minutes. We now want to test your skill from another point of view. You have tried the antonyms or words of opposite meanings. How will you do with synonyms or words of same or almost the same meanings? It is highly important that you have a wealth of synonyms at your command. They're like the many colors on an artist's palette. They will help you paint in front of others the many shades of thoughts that are there in your mind. In the space below, write 2 words that are synonymous with the given word. For example, beautiful would have synonyms lovely, pretty. Strong will have rugged, powerful. Short will have brief, concise. This test should be finished within the time limit, as there are many more than just 2 synonyms for each of these words. There will be a very few minutes in this book that you will have to refer to a dictionary. It may be necessary, however, in this test to check in case your answers do not sufficiently agree with those given at the end of the chapter. Clock yourself for a speed. You should finish this in 4 minutes or less. Defects, shortcomings, imperfections, faults, weaknesses, deficiencies, blemishes. Desires could have synonyms like wishes, wants, longings, cravings, appetites. True could be right, correct, truthful, genuine, straight, honest, faithful, veracious, pure. Suitable could have appropriate, consistent, fitting, fit, applicable. Luminous could be bright, lustrous, radiant, brilliant, vivid, gleaming, shining, glowing, lucid. Loathing, which is a noun. In this case, it could be disgust, aversion, detestation, antipathy, repugnance, abhorrence. Doubtful could relate to rude, ambiguous, vague, obscure, indefinite, loose, uncertain, dubious, questionable. Vulgar could be rude, common, coarse, gross, ill-bred, or low. Admiration could be praise, approval, commendation, esteem, veneration, approbation. And very could have synonyms like extremely, exceedingly, highly, enormously, immensely, abundantly, etc. Count 2 points for each question that you answered correctly. Failure to give 2 synonyms counts to 0. Perfect score will be 20. This subject of synonyms that we have just touched upon is extremely important. The ability to call upon a variety of synonyms gives flexibility and depth to your writing and to your conversation. Test 4 would be again of synonyms. This time the time will be 80 seconds. We have tested your ability to recall the synonyms for a given word. We're now going to test your ability to recognize synonyms when you see them. In the following jumbled paragraph, there are 16 words that start with infidel and put a small figure 1 above it. Run through the list until you find another word that has the same or a similar meaning. Put 1 above it as well. Then try the second word on the list, large, putting a figure 2 above it and search for it as a word similar meaning and mark it 2. Here's how to do it. If you think that infidel is synonymous to happy, then put 1 on both of them and 2 on the next pair. Infidel, unbeliever, egregious, clever, occur, happen, aberration, eccentricity, large, bulky, persuade, induce, kidnap, abduct, unsophisticated, ingenious. Ingenuous. Count 1 point for each word correctly paired. Total possible score is 16. You can see as we go along how line by line is being added to your word portrait. And any flaws that are showing up are a warning to you that you are unnecessarily handicapped. Test 5. How are your homonyms? Time 60 seconds. Homonyms are the words that are pronounced exactly alike but mean different things. Let's test you on the meanings of a few such words. They're likely to be slightly confusing. Here are 5 pair of words. Fit each one of them into its proper place in the sentence. In the first sentence, for instance, both alter and alter must be used. The trick is which word goes correctly in which blank space. Your time starts now. Here are the answers. The bride wanted to alter her dress before the bridegroom took her to the altar. The horse had a graceful gait as it trotted through the gate. The principal of the high school was a dishonest man without a single principle. He went to Washington, the capital of the United States, and visited the beautiful Capitol buildings. The owner of the ship could hardly help but compliment the captain, who had swiftly gotten his full complement of men. Count 2 for each sentence that you have correct. Perfect score should be 10. There are a surprising number of English words of this type that have the same sound, usually with a slight variation in spelling, but radically differ in meaning. Other similar ones are stationery, raise, aisle, write, die, bridle. A knowledge of these distinctions will be an important part of your verbal equipment. Now test 4. Do you know what these words mean? You have 1 minute. This will present some difficulties to those who have not more than a fair grounding in the English language. A few of these words are common. Some of the other are known by only about 50% of the people. 2 or 3 are known to less than 10%. Try them and see how you come out. Let's start with abject. Reading across the page, you will find the 3 words given under A, B, and C. Check which one of these means the same things as abject. Continue through the remaining 9 words. This is a 60 seconds test. For example, if you think abject means refuse, then tick B for your answer. If bandage means banter, then B is your answer. Your time starts now. These are the correct answers. Abject A, bandage B, and so on. Count 2 for each correct answer. Perfect score should be 20. Moving on, test 7. How well can you spell? There's no time limit. In the following paragraph, check the words that have been spelled incorrectly and write them in your corrections. For example, you found this word incorrect, then write the correct spelling of it. We had a committee meeting yesterday at our old address to determine the number of bankruptcy cases on the calendar and to assay both the debaters and the deficit. It would be hard to describe the embarrassing situation that developed over our salable securities, our pending foreclosures, and our promissory notes. In the end, we decided it would be all right to pull off all except the indispensable things until the February meeting. Would you say that some of these words are misspelled or misspelled? Test 8. How well do you pronounce? There's no time limit again. Many people have trouble with the pronunciation of these words in italics given below. Remember how you interpret them so that you can check and mark yourself. Jane had an appendectomy. Her stamina was good, although the whole lamentable affair was a beyond experience. For a brief time, peritonitis threatened, but her obese and jolly doctor used careful hygiene and smart psychiatry on her, and in the end, Jane had enough tenacity to pull her through. Immediately upon her recovery, Jane met a man who was not a misogynist, and being no misogamist herself, they were married. Now you may relax. Your word test is done. Your picture is finished. What you will see on the canvas, pleasant or unpleasant, is what the world sees when you write or when you speak. Please total your scores in the answers column that follow. See which group that you belong in, and we shall then be ready to analyze your portrait for you. If your score is in between 110 and 131 or above, if your score is 110 or above, you belong up in the top 10% of the literate population of this country, and you should be on the way to a high position in your vocational, intellectual, and social life. You will get a special pleasure out of these lessons, and you will be able further to perfect a vocabulary that is already sound. 85 to 110. Your vocabulary is about average and is not helping you to success as fast as it should. Why not begin today to overcome this handicap? Start these lessons now and make this interesting work a daily habit. The new words you learn will bring in new fields of knowledge to you, and there will be many subtle and indirect results. Mark this down in your book. There is no easier way to achieve success than by adding vocabulary. 85 and below. This mark shows a definitely impoverished vocabulary, and your weakness in words must have long since been holding you back. It would be a foolish and fatal mistake not to do something immediately about it. Here are 3 don'ts for you. Don't let your low mark unduly disturb you. Don't begin to think that writers are born and not made. And don't feel that only a university graduate can be an expert user of words. Shakespeare attended a school for 10 years all told. Robert Burns, the Scotch poet, was a day laborer without education. neither Charles Lamb nor Dickens had enough formal schooling to talk about. Abraham Lincoln didn't know the inside of a school looked like. They and many others like them became masters of speech. They achieved their effectiveness by industry and practice. So can you. And when you do, your reward will be great. The beauty of this book is that you start to benefit, not after months of trial, but from the very first day and with the very first chapter. This was the end of the second chapter. See you tomorrow. Thank you for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe.